Journey of a Jeweler, episode number 5. Hello and welcome back to Behind the Canvas. This week I am talking with guest artist Linda Blumel. Linda is a jeweler and we talk about if a fine art degree is important, how to build trust with online buyers, holding an open studio as a part of your business plan, and some easy steps to set yourself apart and create some loyal customers. So please stick around and listen in. Also, if you're considering moving your site or wondering where to host your website, I moved my site to Rainmaker a number of months ago, and I couldn't be happier. If you're thinking of having a member site or running courses or affiliate marketing, the Rainmaker platform is an all-in-one solution. They even do the podcast hosting, all the things that you might think of either now or even in the future. It's based on WordPress, but it's even easier. And they've just included an email marketing program as well. It's one easy bill a month and includes everything that you might need, including security. So you can just get to creating and stop worrying about 1,000 plugins or 1,000 different bills a month for everything that you have done. I'll put a link in the show notes and you'll be able to go right to that. They have a free 14-day trial where you don't even have to enter a credit card. You can just try it out and see if you like it. So go over that in the show notes and check it out. Now let's start our conversation with Linda. So today I am talking to Linda Blumel. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Roxanne.
How are you today?
I'm doing really well. Thanks. How are you?
I am good. We chatted earlier that, it's hard, even though we're working artists, it's hard to really connect unless we actually make an appointment, sit down, and put it on my calendar, and then get our schedules in line. So thank you for taking the time today to do that.
My pleasure.
So I found you by your amazing custom jewelry and your clean style and just magnificent gemstones encased by they're so simple, so contemporary. I love what you've done. So I'm really excited here to talk about how you actually got into that. So why don't we start at the beginning and, talk about how you got into work as an artist and how you got started in jewelry?
Well,
in 5 seconds. No, you have.
What's that?
I said in 5 seconds.
Actually, I think I always knew I wanted to be an artist. I was just always attracted to anything that had to do with, 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional art, visual art. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and when I went to college, I knew that at least I wanted to major in art, and where I ended up going to school, I was only going to go for 1 year and then maybe transfer somewhere else, but I ended up staying there, and they had ceramics, but they didn't have a jewelry program, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do between the two, but those were the two I was drawn to. So I went ahead and got my degree in ceramics. And while I was in college, I ended up through a friend, I got a job at a custom handmade jewelry store in town. And so just by working there, selling the jewelry, the man that owns the store, he's always been really, really great to me. And he let me kind of, mess around with stuff and work on my own. And he taught me a lot. And then there were maybe 3 or 4 other jewelers that have worked there over time, and they've all taught me quite a bit too. So when I graduated from college, I could either go into the ceramics or the jewelry, and I was really having fun with the jewelry, and then also the fact that it's much more manageable size to have the tools and the studio space. With ceramics, you need a kiln, you need a larger space, I think. So I just decided, let's do the jewelry, and that's been it. It's been great.
Yeah, so basically it was just the constraints of the tools and the space that you needed that made your decision.
Sort of, and I was really enjoying the jewelry, what I was doing with it at the time. So, yeah. But I think, that definitely weighed on my decision.
Now, let me ask you about the schooling part for just a minute, because it comes up quite a lot, kind of a dividing line between artists that go all out and do their Master of Fine Arts, their Bachelor of Fine Arts, and those that are more self-educated. Right. Do you have a viewpoint or any thoughts on that? And
Well, I think I definitely don't think you need a degree to be an artist. I have plenty of friends that don't have degrees that make wonderful art. But I do think the good thing about it is when you take classes and you work towards your BFA or work towards a degree, your instructors force you to kind of go down a certain path with your work, and you can choose that path, but they make you kind of, I don't want to explain it, hone things down, and you're not just all over the place. You kind of develop a style or an aesthetic, I think. And so you can kind of tell sometimes, I think, people that don't have degrees because they like to do a lot of different things. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Also, unless you want to teach, I really don't think you need an MFA unless you want to teach college, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. So basically it kind of helps you to get more discipline and
discipline,
have, right,
mm-hmm.
kind of get focused. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So, I mean, I myself too, I know a lot of different artists who have, the full MFA degree, and we joke a lot that my version of MFA is Mighty Fine Art. And the MFA, though, comes in handy. And, there are those that, if you did have that structure, that discipline, there's a lot of truth to that. It can force you into that path of getting out there, creating a certain, having to meet a deadline of criteria for your teacher. And, in a way, workshops can do that. And I know you've taken a number of classes. How do you feel that compares with a regular school program?
Well, the workshops that I've taken have been great to learn techniques, but that's basically all you're learning. I've taken, business workshops for artists as well, but for the actual workshops to learn how to make jewelry, that type of thing, you're learning someone else's technique or somebody's way of doing things. And then, so I've seen people kind of copy other people's work from doing that as well. It's great if you can figure out how to use that in your own work and make it, look like yours.
Right.
That makes sense.
It does make a lot of sense. Yep. I do see that as well. People struggle to find their own style when they just learn a skill.
Right. Their own voice. Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's a big deal. And about the business side of stuff too, did you ever get the business side of the art business in either your formal training or any of the workshops that you had?
I didn't at the university with my degree, but I was so fortunate to work at that jewelry store, and I worked there for years, even after school, after college, I worked there. They still carry my work now, and I learned so much just by being there, working behind the counter, working with customers, seeing how to price things, how to order things, how to have things done that I couldn't do myself, for example, casting and different things, which I don't have much of that done, but I think the experience I got there was just invaluable. I have taken a couple of different workshops since then about, pricing your work, marketing your work, and then now with the internet, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And you can figure some things out on your own, but it's a lot faster to take a workshop from somebody who's already figured it all out, and they can show you how to,
right.
how to do Instagram, how to do Facebook, how to do Twitter, whatever you want to do, and how to do a website.
Yeah, and those are all great shortcuts. Where are you actually selling online?
I'm selling on Etsy, which for me has been really wonderful because before that I sold pretty much wholesale or consignment, and Etsy is, I sell retail on there because you can't, undercut the galleries that carry your work, even though some people do.
Yeah.
But it's been really great for me, and it's been nice because I deal directly with the customers, and so I can get feedback from them as far as what they're liking, what they're not liking, what they want. And for the most part, all the clients I've had on there have been really great. And then I do have people come to my studio. Some of them have found me on Etsy, and since I live in this great vacation spot like you, that a lot of times people will come here for the winter, and they'll call and want to come to my studio, which is really nice.
Right, so a lot of direct visits to the studio. Do you find that helps people kind of get into the whole experience of what you do?
Oh, I think so. I think they like seeing it, and I think, jewelry, it amazes me that people will buy jewelry online without seeing it. And on Etsy, there are 5 pictures. And maybe they'll send me an email and ask a question or two. But for the most part, they're kind of trusting that what I send them is what they get, that it looks like what it is online. And so coming here, they can try different things on. It's a lot of fun. And I think most people like to see the studio and see the tools and just kind of see how it's done.
Yeah, now I'm on your Etsy site right now, and I have to say that I can see why they would be comfortable and trust that, because your images are very professional.
Oh,
you can see clearly the stone, you can see kind of the basic details, and all the other information like sizing and materials you get in the copy of that. So,
and that's all really important. Yeah, you have to, describe it well.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, how do you do your own photography, or do you actually hire a professional?
No, on that I do my own, and I have this little, it's horrible, this little red Sony point and shoot camera, which I really need to upgrade my camera, but then that's going to be a learning curve, so I'm kind of, waiting for time to do that. But I just use this little point and shoot, and I'll take, to get those 5 pictures, I'll maybe take 40 photos. And then kind of edit, I do a lot of cropping. I don't edit color or anything really, but do a lot of cropping and that type of stuff. And I do have a professional photographer that takes the photos for my website, but those are pretty pricey. So for every piece that I sell on Etsy, I couldn't have a professional take the photos. Or that would be no profit whatsoever.
Yeah, I know.
I'd be doing it just for fun.
It does start to add up. Do you? One more question on your photography. Do you add in special lighting? Do you use natural light? What kind of lighting do you use?
I try to use natural light, and fortunately, most of the days here are sunny. I have a little white box in my studio, and it's like a little fabric drawer box that I bought at IKEA for maybe $5, but it works really well. And then I just put a piece of paper in the background, and I have one lamp over to the side with a real white bulb in it, and then a lot of light that comes in, diffuse light from the shades in my studio. I keep the shades down and the light comes in, and then sometimes I'll have to lighten things up a little bit on the computer, but it usually works pretty well.
Yeah. Now, do you use Photoshop, or do you use a special program to do that?
No, I use whatever was on my computer. I don't remember what it's called now. No, I haven't. I did take a class on Photoshop, but that keeps changing so much that if you don't use it, if I don't use it for a month, I forget what to do, and it's more complicated than I need.
Right.
So I just use whatever came on, probably with Explorer. I don't know, something with Microsoft.
Okay, so you're on a PC.
Yeah.
You're not a Mac girl.
I know. I should be. Everything else, I have the iPhone, the iPad, but my husband is my tech guy.
Gotcha.
He's tech support, and he's much better with the Mac or with the PC. So it's like, just made it easier for me.
Yeah. So you do have that support from a partner. You have, your husband does some tech and some things like that. Does he do any other helpful things for your business?
Oh, he does. He does all kinds of wonderful things for my business. He does some of my accounting on QuickBooks, although I haven't used that too much. But he keeps track of everything. He loves to print out little spreadsheets for me, which is really cute. But like when I do studio tours here, Hidden in the Hills, he's huge help. He does tons of work, as far as setting things up, cleaning things, moving things out of the way. He's just a very helpful person, which is wonderful. If I need something, repaired, if I have my lamp has a problem, if my steamer has a problem, my buffer that I buff the jewelry with, anything mechanical, I don't have a natural ability for it. I feel like if I had to, I could learn how to do it, but he has a natural ability, so I just let him do it.
Yeah, it sounds like a great partnership for that.
It's perfect, yeah, for that.
So you mentioned studio tours. How do you do those once a year, and how effective do you find that for your business overall?
I do it, if I do it, it's once a year, and then I'll do it for a couple of years, and then I'll take a year off, and then maybe do it for a couple of years. And it is effective, although for me personally, I find it a little bit stressful. let's see, how do I describe just how I'm not used to spending all day talking to people, and that's not my natural gift is not to really talk about my work or to talk to people, as most artists. I mean, some artists are really wonderful with that, but that's not my forte. So it can get pretty exhausting after a day or two.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of energy for you to put that out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy.
Yeah. So that leads me to another question I had, so I'm just going to move that up in the ranks here. It's a section that I call creative backbeat, and it's all those lifestyle things that support your art. What are some things that you do to kind of nourish your creativity, and from sleep to diet to getting meditation time, whatever you kind of do to handle that?
Well, I do try to eat very healthfully as much as possible. That really just makes a difference on how I feel, how much energy I have, how well I sleep. I do yoga. What else? I love routine. And if I can my husband hates routine and I love routine, so it's very interesting. But I love to come into the studio, know what my tasks are, know what I need to do, that kind of thing. That kind of helps me to be productive. If that makes sense.
It does make a lot of sense. And what about your sleep? Do you try to make sure you rest? Do you take naps? Do you nourish that sleep time?
I try to get 8 hours a night, and if I'm successful with that, then things are pretty good. If not, if I get do lose sleep or get behind in my sleep due to whatever, traveling or whatever, then I will take naps. But if I need a nap, I need a full hour, and then it takes me a little while to wake up, and then I feel like, a couple hours are gone out of my productive day. But no, if I need it, I definitely will go and take a nap. I don't sit here and zone out.
Oh, the beauties of working at home, right?
Right? Yes. And I love to work at night. A couple nights a week, I usually come in here because it's quiet, nobody's around, no phone calls, no interruptions usually. So that seems to really be great for me too. But I think that's more my natural rhythm. I think if it was totally up to me and I didn't have to deal with the world, I'd probably sleep until 9 and stay up until 1 in the morning. But the rest of the world doesn't always agree with that.
That's true. So here's another question for you. Mm-hmm. What are you curious about right now? It could be any subject. Just what is kind of lurking in the background, or do you kind of find yourself scrolling away from your daily activities to kind of read about, learn about, listen about? What's kind of sparking your curiosity?
Another excellent question. I do, I am very interested in social media, and I do spend a lot of time looking at things on social media to see how other people do things, picking up, tips and pointers and that kind of stuff. As far as not related to jewelry, basically just health and how to live a healthy life, and things that I can do as I age that, I don't necessarily want to live forever, but I don't want to be ill as I age. So what I can do to keep my body healthy and still able for it to do what I want it to do, within reason. Does that make sense?
Yeah, good answer.
Okay.
Good answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I am spending a lot of time thinking about that.
Yeah, just life issues, just, kind of, making sure that you're on track and you can prevent whatever and be on top of social media and learning things.
And as far as health, what I can do now to be kind of proactive for as I age, whether it's eating properly, or if I have any bad habits, stopping those, or things that could be harmful later on.
Right. Well, yay you.
Hey, I'm interested. It doesn't mean I'm doing it.
So true. So true. Sometimes we all need that, a little bit of accountability, right?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yes.
So another question, and one of our final ones, is what projects are you working on right now? Are you gearing up for another studio show? Do you have a great new line or a collection that you're working on?
Right now, the two things basically that I'm working on. The first one is adding more gold to what I do. It makes it more expensive, and it's a little bit of a learning curve for me, but I find it challenging and fun, and I really like the combination of silver and gold together. So I'm working on that. I've been kind of reading more about how to work with gold and practicing a few things. And then the other thing I'm just working on for the summer is just building up a big inventory for the winter. Because we live in Arizona and it's so hot here in the summer, it's perfect studio time. Mm-hmm. Can't do much outside. So spend a lot of time in the studio and just really trying to build my inventory for when people come back in the fall and in the winter and they come to my studio. It's nice. I feel much more comfortable when I have a larger inventory here for people to take a look at and see what, find something that they.
Yeah, I hear you. So if you have that inventory too, that helps when you're engaging. You don't have to fuss or worry about, I don't have anything to show them, or I don't.
I hate when someone comes in and they're like, I have 2 bracelets. They want to see a bracelet. I have 2 bracelets. And I was like, I'd love to have stuff here for people to select from and find something they love.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it takes that attention off yourself and onto your actual creations.
Mm-hmm.
And they get, it's almost like a kid in a candy store. I call your jewelry an adult candy store.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah, because
a lot of people say, oh, these rings, they look like candy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so if you have a sweet tooth, you can be very dangerous.
Absolutely. And I usually have sweet treats here when people come.
Oh, double duty.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, is there anything else that you want to share about yourself as an artist to a collector, or share to maybe an artist that's, in the middle of their career and maybe struggling with a turning point? Anything that you want to, your words of dripping wisdom?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I think as far as for jewelers, I don't know necessarily, can't really speak to other types of art, but there are so many jewelers out there and so much competition. And I think, as far as pricing, you'll find somebody that does work similar to yours, but it's much, much less expensive. Maybe the quality isn't good, but the clients aren't always necessarily aware of that. But I think one of the really most important things and things that I learned working at the jewelry store was to focus on customer service and really appreciate your clients and, cater to them and kind of do things that you think, well, maybe I shouldn't have to size that ring for free, or I shouldn't have to repair that. They broke it. But if you just do that kind of stuff, it really doesn't cost you much, and it makes them so happy and they come back. And I think that's one way to set yourself apart from other artists, other jewelers out there.
That wraps up our interview with Linda Blumel. I will have the links to her sites over in the show notes for episode number 5. Also in the notes for the show, you'll find links to join the free artist library on creativetempo.com and resources if you need help with your career. So come on over, and we'll see you here again at Behind the Canvas next week. Thanks for listening.